Hi, this is Gabe, founder and CEO at ClickPoint Software. First, I want to personally thank you for checking out the Sales Exec and Ring Response trial. And I want to congratulate you on taking the first steps towards helping your sales team win more deals and convert more of their leads. My pledge to you is that when you engage with our team, you will immediately know why over 10,000 salespeople trust us to help them exceed their sales goals. We founded the company on a pretty simple principle: show our clients real and immediate sales results in 30 days or less. Our shared goal during your onboarding and implementation of Sales Exec and Ring Response will look like this. First, we're going to zero in on a few key best practices and the metrics that will drive your team to sales success. We're going to make sure that every lead is responded to in seconds, not minutes or hours. No matter if it's a web lead or a lead from a third-party lead source or an inbound phone call. This change alone will immediately improve your lead conversion. Next, we're going to ensure every lead is contacted between 8 to 10 times in the first 48 hours by using a combination of automated email nurture, texting, and outbound dialing with local presence, pre-recorded voicemails, and guided selling. These features and best practices are known to increase lead contact rates by 40 to 60%. We're also going to eliminate cherry picking of leads by your salespeople. And finally, we are going to give you real-time insights so that you can double down on the marketing sources that are performing well or cut the ones that aren't. Our pricing is straightforward and simple. If you do not see the results that you hope for, ClickPoint has no long-term contracts. We will not lock you into a relationship where you do not realize immediate and real value. All right, so let's get started with the demonstration. This is your welcome screen. From here, you can jump off to the most critical parts of the system. One of the first things that you're going to want to do is add or change your lead fields. These are the fields of information that you're going to collect from a landing page or from something like a third-party lead source. We're already integrated with companies like LendingTree and Zillow and any other third parties that you want to get leads from. You can simply create the posting documentation that's required so that they can send leads right into your system and they can be instantly transferred to your salespeople. You can set up your marketing channels, campaigns, and lead sources right from the screen. You can jump to importing leads, even setting up the Ring Response call solution, getting our mobile application, and configuring all of your scoreboards or dashboard reporting so that you can see which of your salespeople are performing and which of your lead sources are performing in real time. I also encourage you to check out our Help Center, which is located in the toolbar. You simply select More, you drop it down to Help Center, and this is going to give you quite a few options here. First, you can see our product updates. This is all of the most latest features, integrations, and product updates from ClickPoint. It's going to tell you about the product and feature, give you a little bit more information. In most cases, it's going to give you a tutorial video. You can also check out our knowledge base if you want to learn by reading our articles and how-to articles and guides. You can go back to the welcome screen at any time so that you can kick off the configuration aspects of the system. You can jump off to software tours, read our terms of service, or again, you can talk to support from this screen, which is going to initiate our chat client. You can also talk to support over here in the toolbar simply by selecting Talk to Support. It's going to pull up a chat client where you can start a conversation, or you can search for an article that's in our knowledge base on any page of the software. Also, as you're navigating through the software, on every major page of the software, you're going to get a How It Works button. And in the How It Works button, you're going to get a tip about what the page can do for you, what you need to configure here. And you also have a how-to article along with an interactive tour. And again, you can ask an expert here if you get stuck or if you need any assistance. We're more than happy to point you in the right direction and give you tips on how to configure the screen. Great, so let's talk about lead fields. Do you sell more than one product or service? I know at ClickPoint we do. We have free trials. We also have resellers and partners, and we have leads that are, older leads that are like a list, right? So at ClickPoint, we have the ability to have 3 different sales channels that all have different sales workflow. And so record types is really where it starts. These are called record types in our system. And within the record type, you have the ability to add any lead fields, and it's all drag and drop. It makes it really easy for you to add lead fields in and make them required or not. And so again, drag and drop, I can add these, change the layout really easily. I can also change the layout from my salesperson's view. These groupings right here can be edited, and I can drag and drop every one of these fields. And part of the reason we spent a lot of time here is that we found that most CRM solutions and most other sales solutions made it really difficult to customize or configure these aspects. And so we put a lot of effort here to make sure that it was really easy for your administrators and managers to add fields, change the view and layout so that you can make it your own system. From this screen, you can also edit your script. So your sales script is great for getting new salespeople off the ground really quickly. And with a sales script, you have complete control over what is displayed to the salesperson at the time when they're making a call to a prospect. And so you have starting segments here where you can inject specific lead fields that will populate, right? So as I'm going through a presentation pitch to a potential customer, I have this dynamic script. And for new salespeople that need to get used to the products and services that you're selling, this is a great tool. And you have complete flexibility to make it your own here. For each type of campaign or dialing campaign that you're working, you can have your own specific custom sales script. From this screen, you also have the ability to change the column layout, the way that all the leads will be displayed in the lead manager screen. And so again, drag and drop, you have the ability to move around the order of the way that the columns lay out in the lead manager screen. And the lead manager screen is contained under My Leads. This is where all of your leads will flow into, and really where your managers will see leads at the various stages of the pipeline, from new all the way to potentially a application or working or in progress to a closed or a won deal. And so having control over the screen is really pivotal to your success, because you can widen the columns, you can pin left any of these columns or pin right. And so you have complete control and flexibility here to create the lead manager screen just the way you want it. So now let's take a look at marketing channels. This is next on our list, and getting leads into Sales Exec is really an important factor of the success of your program. So think of a channel as the technical way in which you're going to acquire leads and have them sent directly into the system. And your lead source is really what's driving those leads to the channel. So if you had a marketing channel, let's say, of a landing page, your lead source might be Google or it might be Facebook, okay? And so a campaign is then gonna allow you to go a step further and say, okay, we know that we have a marketing channel of landing page, and we know that we have a lead source of Google, but I have a Google promotion for a summer special discount, and I also have one for spring, and maybe I have one for fall. And so campaign gives me that next step, that extra step of attribution that I'm going to need to segment my different marketing campaigns. We even give you the ability to create a budget. And the reason why we do that is because you don't always know what your price per lead is, especially when you're doing things like cost per click or direct mail. You might know what your cost per lead is from a third-party lead source like a LendingTree or a Zillow or a QuinStreet, but you're not going to know that if you're doing Google advertising, at least at first. And so with a budget, you can put in a budget, and then we're going to automatically tell you what your lead price is based on how many leads are generated against that budget. Once you have all of this set up with marketing channel, lead source, and campaign inside of Sales Exec, it's really easy then to generate posting instructions. And these posting instructions are what your lead sources or your internal development team needs to send leads electronically into the system so that they can be distributed and routed instantly to your sales team. The next thing that I want to cover is, once you've created your lead fields and once you've created your marketing source and your lead source and your campaign, the next thing that you're going to want to do is think about which type of distribution strategy you're going to use to get leads to your salespeople. And with Sales Exec, you also have our newest product, Ring Response, so that you can get all of your web leads flowing into the system, but you can also get all of your phone calls. You can purchase an 800 number from us or a local number, and you can put that on a billboard or a direct mail piece, even your landing page. And anybody that calls, we're going to route that call the same way that we would an internet or a web lead, using routing rules like shotgun or round robin, so that they're responded to very quickly. So let's go down to lead distribution. In my lead distribution, I have the ability to do either a push or a pull strategy. I'm going to go ahead and show you the pull strategy first. You can see here that I can set up multiple strategies, and I've got recipients or salespeople or agents within each one of those strategies. So once I say, let's go ahead and create this strategy, let's go ahead and edit it. And now I can see all the options that I have. So when your team is doing outbound dialing within Sales Exec, no matter if they're using our product Ring Response to place the calls or another solution, we can make it so that there are restrictions that help you with compliance. For example, state hours. We don't want your salespeople calling the specific states past a certain time at night. You're going to violate FCC calling restrictions, and we want to make sure that you're compliant. So you can set up your state hours, you can set up shifts, you can add recipients into this calling campaign, if you will. You can also decide, what are my priorities? How do I want my salespeople to get new leads served up to them? Is it lowest priority or pool count first, or is it highest? Do we go off of newest leads added or oldest? And that really depends on the makeup of your team. It also depends on the type of leads that you have flowing into this call campaign. And we can certainly help you with that to determine which methods and which best practices you should use here. But ultimately what we're trying to do is create a way for your sales team to more efficiently dial in their leads. And by doing so, we want to set up the best calling strategy, whether it's push or pull. Pull tends to work best if you're getting a lot of leads and you have a sales team that's generally more than 5 or 10 salespeople. You're going to need a lot of leads flowing into your system in order to effectively use a pull strategy. You can also use a push strategy, and a push is basically sending leads to your recipients or your salespeople one by one, where it's pushing a lead to them. Whereas pull operates on the premise that your salespeople will pull leads as they're available. And we'll go over a little bit more of that in the demo. So I have the ability to set up either a pull or a push strategy. You can use distribution settings like round robin, shotgun. You can even do recycle. So if a salesperson gets a lead and they don't do something with it after a certain amount of time, we're going to send it back to be distributed again to another salesperson. And so you have a lot of flexibility here with the types of distribution and lead routing that you can set up. So this is the admin settings though. What we want to show you next is what it would be like for an actual salesperson. And at ClickPoint, we designed this solution to be really simple for the salesperson so that they didn't have to think about what they were doing next. We want them to go to the pull screen, and on the pull screen, it's going to give them the option to start pulling a new lead. Once I hit pull, it's going to bring up the lead on the screen, and it's also going to dial at the same time using Ring Response. So I'm going to go ahead and hang up so that it doesn't actually call this demo lead, but you can see that it was dialing right away. On this screen, I have on the left-hand side all of my dispositions, and these are custom to you. So you tell us what dispositions work best for your sales team, and then we can also look at what our best practices are for your industry or vertical, and we're going to make a suggestion to you. What's really great about a pull system is it works great in call centers, and the reason why is that a lot of time spent with management of call center agents and salespeople and inside sales teams is in determining how leads should be routed to them and what happens when a salesperson is already on the phone or they're away on vacation or they went to lunch. With a traditional push system, you're sending them leads no matter if they're on the phone or not, because the system's not smart enough to know that they're talking to somebody right now or that they got up from their desk and they went to go get a cup of coffee. With a pull system, your team is pulling leads as they're available. And so what that does is it really first helps your administration team not have to worry so much about changing distribution settings. More importantly, it gives the old rule of 80% of your business comes from your top 20 producers. Your top 20 producers in a push scenario are going to have a set amount of leads that they're going to get per day or per hour. In a pull scenario, they have access to far more leads because leads are shared. They don't get to actually claim a lead as their own unless they get it to a critical milestone metric. Right? So with a pull system, you're going to see calls per day per agent upwards of 200, most likely up into 400 if you're doing it right, which means that your salespeople are going to be more active and your lead conversion is going to be much higher. The other thing that's great about pull is it forces your salespeople to disposition a lead because they can't get another one until they do. And what we've learned at ClickPoint is that CRM and sales solutions are only as good as the data that you can glean and get from it. Because as an administrator or owner or manager, you have to be able to pull the levers. You have to be able to see that a lead source is not working great for your team so you can cut them off. Or if one is working great, you want to double down and spend more money with that provider. Well, if your salespeople aren't updating their leads, that's a real problem. With a pull system, they have to hit something like schedule callback as an example, and then when they do, it's automatically going to go get their next lead based on the rules that you put in place, and it's going to dial immediately. So this keeps your salespeople very efficient. They're constantly on the phone, and with ring response working, they can easily maneuver between making outbound dials using the pull screen or taking inbound calls. Because when they get an inbound call from ring response, it's going to pop up on their screen and say, do you want to take the call? And the system is smart enough to know not to send them any more calls or let them pull any leads while they're on the phone. They also have the dynamic script that I was showing you a little bit earlier over here on the right. So you can create all kinds of yes, no, you can put in product types in here. So yes, no questions, product types, and when they select one of these, it's going to fill in the next set of preloaded text that you've created in the sales script editor. So if I hit yes, it says thank you so much, let's talk about your options. This is part of the dynamic script. You can also see that it inserted the address here from the lead information because this was a tag that we inserted in the sales script editor. So it makes it very interactive to help you get your salespeople off the ground much faster. You can also see on this screen, they're going to be able to see their agent statistics. How many appointments or calls or sales have I made for the day? I can easily add a lead note. I can view my notes. I can compose an email, and I can select from all of my email templates here to send something out really quickly so that I'm more efficient. Again, this is all about efficiency for your sales team, giving them something that's simple and lightweight, easy to use. They don't have to think about what to do next. They just disposition the current lead. One last thing I'll say about this is this solution also eliminates the ability for your salespeople to cherry pick leads. That's a huge problem that we see with most of our potential customers when we're going in and we're saying, what are some of the problems that you face? One of the biggest is in a push scenario, when you're sending leads to salespeople and they can see the lead source, or maybe they know what type of lead it is, it makes it way too easy for them to pick the leads that they want to call because they know it's a good or a bad lead. Well, with this type of a system, they can't see that. All they can see is that the lead has been popped up on the screen and the phone's already dialing. All of your reporting is going to tell you if they're actually connecting with their prospects and completing the conversation. All right, so now that we've shown you how easy it is to set up your lead fields, set up your marketing sources, and what it's like for a salesperson on pull, next we're going to show you what it's like as they view their leads. So I'm going to go into my leads section and I'm going to go to opportunities. Now, one thing to note, up here at the top, you're going to see opportunities, applications, and clients. This is completely custom. So this is your workflow, and we help you in your onboard process to create your specific sales workflow. So opportunities could be something like new, or prospects, or new leads. It can be anything you want it to be. Again, I showed you what it was like to edit the columns in the column editor earlier on in the demo, and that's where this takes effect. So what you see over here on the pen left, this is the pen left and this is the pen right. I can make these static columns in here so that it makes it much easier for me as a salesperson to see pertinent information always on the screen. From this screen, you're also going to be able to see some pretty cool things like how many total calls have come in from this lead, how many outbound dials have been made on this lead, and if there are any call recordings with this lead. As I scroll over, I can also see things like my status, so I can sort this and I can prioritize my leads based on the status of the lead. I can also see things like what was the last action and who it's assigned to. And this is important because salespeople can only see their leads. They can't see other salespeople's leads within Sales Exec. But as a manager, you might want to see this. How many leads have been assigned to each salesperson and what's their pipeline look like. One of the things that's really nice about the screen too is because Sales Exec has an email nurture and email solution that integrates with SendGrid, you can send out emails and we can track when they're open and what the last email was that a prospect opened and responded to. So here I can see that this prospect opened my Happy Memorial Day email. This one opened up the Welcome Home email, Happy New Year, etc. And I'm going to get a notification as a salesperson every time a prospect opens up one of my emails so that I can respond quickly knowing that they just saw some special email or promotion, something that would signify that they're showing interest in our product or our service. Some other things that you can do from this screen, I can select multiple leads by holding down the control key like this, or I can hold down the shift key and select a whole range. Now, this is great if you use our filters because I can filter this page down. So if I'm in the mortgage vertical as an example, I might want to filter down my leads by state. I've got some loan officers that are licensed in California versus Florida, so I can filter that down. Actually, that's applicable to a lot of different types of sales teams where they want to filter their leads by, a state or a time zone, and you could do that very easily here. Then you can highlight the leads in that selection and you can add them to our Power or Preview dialer. The other thing that's really nice about this screen is it's a continuous scroll so that you can filter your leads down really easily without having to keep jumping to pages. So I can see all the leads that are opportunities for me on this screen, and I can filter this down, and then I can easily add them to a dialing campaign, or I can also take this selection of leads and I can send out an email. So in addition to the nurture emails and drip email that's contained within Sales Exec, I can also send a bulk email. I might want to do that around the holidays or around a special promotion that we're running. From this screen, I also have the ability to manually transfer leads. Obviously, we want you to have everything automated so that leads are being assigned to salespeople, but you might want to import a file of leads and then transfer those to that team. And you can do that really easily. Select the user, and if you have multiple branches, if you're a company that has branch locations, you can have all of your branches in the system and you can manually transfer leads to different branches. So it's really easy to get your leads into the system automatically through setting up your marketing channel, source, and campaign. You can also import large lead lists. So if I go to import, it's going to give me the ability to import an Excel file of leads. We have customers that will import many thousands of leads into the system and then transfer them to different branches or maybe to an outbound dialing team. And you also have a couple of efficiency options here. So if I right click using my mouse, it's going to give me the ability to quickly edit a lead, add lead notes, I can view notes or add an appointment. I can return bad leads. I can also disposition my leads. And again, this goes back to the sales workflow that is completely custom and configurable to your team. You do this in the onboard process, and it's going to be very specific to the way that you work your leads and your sales process. So as a manager or as a salesperson, I have the ability to quickly update my leads, which is then going to set off a series of automated events, which could be sending out an email or a text message. It could be that a salesperson is forced to set an appointment, or it could be that when I set a certain disposition or status, it moves a lead to a different team member or a different branch location. The other thing that's great on this screen is that as you see I'm clicking around here, it's showing you that I can call a lead using the click to dial through ring response. So I'm going to go ahead and call one of these leads so that you can see what that would be like. All I have to do is click call lead. I can also do that over here from the right from the communication center, or I can send a text message. I can set myself up for local presence and also set myself as available to take inbound calls. Local presence is going to give you the ability to dial using a area code that is matched to the area code of your potential lead. So if you're calling from California on a prospect that lives in Florida, you're going to have a much better contact rate if you show a Florida area code, and our system can do that for you automatically. So if I go ahead and call this lead, it's ringing now, and now I have the option to transfer. With the option to transfer, I can then send it into different call flows. So if I get somebody on the phone and they're interested and I get them to the stage of a application, or maybe I do a credit check, or they're ready to purchase, I might want to send them over to something like servicing or processing, billing, or customer service. And I can do that really easily, sending them into a different call flow. Or I can transfer them to different agents that are set as available. So if I have senior sales team members, maybe I'm a junior salesperson or a business development rep, I can transfer a call when it's connected to one of the senior salespeople on the team. So now I'm going to go ahead and open up a lead. So I'm going to double click or click the little eye icon. And when I open up a lead, I'm going to get some things here that help me to see a better picture, a 360 view of the customer. The first thing I want to show you is some of the efficiency items that we've added into the system. If I change anything on this screen, so let's go ahead and make Joe Gabe, it's going to automatically save. I don't have to go find a save button somewhere. As soon as I start making edits on this page, it's automatically going to save my information, and then I'm going to be able to see any of those changes in the lead history. So if I view the edits, you can see that this was Joe and I just changed it to Gabe. I can also see anything else that's happened on this lead. So any emails sent, any calls that were made, if the prospect called me back, if there's a call recording, I can see that. I can also see if this lead belonged to somebody else or if there's any other appointments associated with this lead. I'm going to be able to view the full call history here, any outbound calls, inbound calls, and call recordings, any notes, and then I'm also going to be able to see my email statistics. So if emails are being delivered automatically through a nurture campaign, I'm going to be able to see if they're opened, and I'm going to be able to see any documents or contact association with this lead. Great, so now that I've shown you what it's like for a salesperson's daily activities, where they're going to be pulling leads, making outbound dials, getting inbound phone calls, I want to show you a little bit more of the administration settings. So I'm going to go back to settings, and I want to show you how easy it is to purchase phone numbers in our solution and set up ring response. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to create user groups. And this could be the different sales teams that you have. This could be the difference between a customer support team and a billing team that you want to add to our call flow system, so that if a salesperson does close a deal, they can quickly transfer that call over to the appropriate team. All right, so this is the Manage Groups section. And you can see here I've already set up billing and development and sales and support. And this is probably pretty traditional for most companies. They're going to have these departments that you're going to want sales to be able to transfer these calls over to. You're also going to want to set up these groups so that you can add them to your call flows and they can get inbound calls as well. So it's pretty easy to add a user here and then create a group and create the association. And I'll show you why that's important here in a second. So now that you can see groups, let's go back down to purchasing phone numbers. So you can either purchase local or toll-free numbers, and you can also purchase your local presence numbers by state here, which to my knowledge, we're the only system that I've seen that allows you to purchase local presence numbers individually or by state. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, do I want a local or a toll-free number? I'm going to say local, and now let's do a search by location. And I want to see all the numbers that are available for Arizona as an example. So the page is going to load, and now you can see all the numbers that I have that are available for Arizona. I've got 602 numbers, 623, 520, and I'm going to select one of these numbers to assign it out to one of my salespeople. I'm also going to buy local presence numbers because I want them, when they're dialing into Florida or California, to be able to have a better contact rate by showing a local area code. So I'm going to come down here and it's going to show me all the area codes that are available for California. I can purchase them all or I can purchase them individually. So I'm going to go ahead and select them all. I'm going to say I want the entire state of California, all the area codes, so that if I call anybody in California, I'm always going to show the specific area code of the prospect or lead that I'm dialing. Okay, so once I have my phone numbers purchased, the next thing I'm going to do is set up call flows. So call flows are going to give me the ability to set up a very dynamic flow. Once a caller hits my number, whether it's a local or an 800 number, where does that call go? So we're going to go ahead and edit the draft, and you can see here that this is where the call starts. It's going to come in through an 800 number. We're going to create a lead from that, and then we're going to send it into a queue. You could also do an option like a redirect. So if the queue is completely full, everybody's on the phone, there's nobody that's available, I want to send it maybe to another offsite team that can take any of my overflow calls. You can also insert play say options and criteria. So we're going to just show you a couple of the options here. So let's take a look at queue first. So I'm just going to show you a couple of the options with the queue. So first you want to name the queue. So let's just go ahead and call this, sales team 1. And then it's going to ask me, do I want to deliver these calls in a round robin or a shotgun format? Round robin is going to take a look at all of your agents that are marked as available, and it's going to look at the criteria that's applied to this call flow, and it's going to go through the agents one by one until it gets an answer. Or you can do the shotgun strategy, which is going to deliver the call to everybody that's marked as available, that's not on a call, and whoever answers it first gets to take that call. You're then going to assign that user group that we were talking about before. So we want to say, this is going to go to the sales team, and I've got 7 team members that are in sales team 1 or sales team 2. And I can also mark this here based on user state criteria. Let's make sure that we're sending those calls to the appropriate licensing or the appropriate states for each salesperson. The next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you have an introductory message when somebody hits a queue. That's like when you call an 800 number and it says, thank you for calling XYZ company, press 1 for support, press 2 for sales. And the great thing about our system is you can either upload your own audio file, or if you don't have your own audio files, all you have to do is type, "Thank you for calling," and our system is going to convert that professionally for you into a woman or a man's voice without you having to upload a pre-recorded audio file. So once I have that set up, now I've got my queue, and the next thing I want to do is probably set up an IVR menu. So once they come into the system, we give them a welcome message, "Thank you for calling," press 1 for sales or press 2 for support. You can do that really easily with the IVR menu here. So all I'm going to do is say, let's go ahead and press 1, and that's going to give me my sales team, or press 2. I want to send that over to the support team. You also have the ability to select your criteria, and the criteria you can set for regional, right? So state, zip code, or area code routing. You can also use opening hours. So this branch location should only get calls between this time and this time. They're opened hours, or by a variable. And a variable can be a lot of different things. So you could say city, state, country code, average time in queue, current position, time in queue. These are all variables that you can use to determine where calls go next in the call flow. So now that you know how you can set up call flows, I just want to talk real quickly about why you would use this feature. You would use this feature, let's just take an example, a landing page, right? You're getting web leads from a landing page, and you know that you've got a pretty good conversion on that page, but let's be real, a lot of people don't like to be called by entering in their information on a web form. They feel like they're going to get too many calls, maybe they have privacy concerns. If you put a phone number on that landing page or that website, there's a good chance you're going to get on average between 20 to 30% more leads than you're getting today if you didn't have a phone number. But you want to make sure that those are actually tracked as leads so that you can give marketing attribution to whoever is sending that traffic to that landing page or that website. As an example, if you're spending a lot of money with Google cost per click, you want to know that the leads that are calling in using that 800 number, that toll-free number that you got from us, are coming from Google cost per click, so that you know what your true acquisition cost is on the leads and the marketing channels that you're spending money on. And so with this solution, you can do that. You can get a true cost of what it's really taken to create a lead from Google cost per click or Facebook or anybody that's directing traffic to an online ad or to a landing page. The next thing that I want to show you is included with Sales Exec is the ability to use email nurture, bulk email, and one-off emails. So I want to show you real quickly what you can do with email templates. So at ClickPoint, we just created a new nurture campaign at ClickPoint. We just kicked it off the other day, and it's part of our registration for a free trial. So you can see here, these are all the steps, all the emails that are in our nurture process, right? We've got day 1 all the way to day 10 and up to day 22. And I can see here how many of these emails have been sent and what the open rate is. I can click here on this little graph and it's going to show me what my open rate is by day. I can even view the domain deliverability. So I can see if I'm having issues with my email getting into Gmail or Yahoo. And because ClickPoint uses SendGrid and delivers email on behalf of your agents or salespeople, you have a very high success rate of getting your emails into the inbox of your prospects and your leads. You also have an email template editor, so you can input any type of email, whether it's HTML or plain text, and then you're going to have these dynamic tags over here based on all the lead fields that you added into the system. And the reason why this is cool is because you can really make this personal. You could say based on your product interest or based on the user settings that you just created in a free trial. That's what we do at Sales Exec. We put your company name, we put your login. We don't put the password, but we remind our customers what their login was. And so this is very personalized to our customers, and it's delivered automatically. We don't have to do anything once we have this set up. And again, email nurture is just one more tool that's going to help you to convert more of your leads. With Ring Response, you're capturing more from your website. You're getting all of your inbound calls as well as your web leads being transferred to your sales team automatically. With Email Nurture, you're also nurturing those prospects throughout the entire sales process. And with texting, you're doing the same. So we're driving more value from every one of your potential prospects and leads, making sure that you have touch points that are going out to them throughout the entire sales process. So now that you know all of the things that are going to help you convert more of your leads by setting up distribution, by creating your marketing channels, by ensuring that you have an email nurture system in place and by giving your salespeople a really easy system to pull leads as they're available. The next thing that we want to show you is the reporting, so you can see in real time where you can pull the levers, where you can cut off lead sources or whether you can double down on ones that are converting for you. So the first thing I want to show you is some of the custom reports. We have 3 different types of report solutions in Sales Exec. We have custom reports for dashboard, scoreboards, and then we have our out-of-the-box reporting. So the first I'm going to show you is the dashboard reports. And the dashboard reports, it's great because it's a snapshot. It's really not meant to give you deep dive metrics, but it gives you an overall picture of what's happening with your sales teams, with your branch locations. And most of our customers will set this up with a today view, a this week view, and a month to date view. And one of the reasons why dashboards is really effective is that we host everything with Sales Exec and Ring Response with Microsoft Azure. It's the most scalable, most recognized cloud hosting provider. There's more than 50% of Fortune 500 companies use Microsoft Azure. It allows us to give you your reporting metrics in almost real time. So you can edit this screen and add in all of the charts and tiles that are important to you based off of your sales process. As you can decide if you want this to run off of specific agents or if you want this to be based off of branch locations or based off users within a branch location. So you have a lot of flexibility here. You can also add multiple charts. There's charts for top users by calls, top users by call duration, by status updates. All you have to do is pick a chart type and then go over to that new chart, status updates. I'm going to click the gear, and then I have the ability to drop in any status that I've added into the system. And if you remember, our customer success team is going to build out your specific statuses to your specific sales process. So I'm going to show application submitted. Now I've got a customized report based off of the sales statuses that I use every day. So that's dashboards. That's really meant for your administration team. The other thing that you can do here is you can share this dashboard with anyone on your team. So all you have to do is add other users. They're going to see your dashboard and you guys can be on the same page about the sales metrics that matter to you and the organization. Now the flip side of that is that you want to have reports for your salespeople. These are more for the administration team, but for the salespeople, what we're going to use is scoreboard reports. So scoreboard reports are similar to dashboards in the way that you can configure them. If I click on the gear, I can do all the same configurations that I did with dashboard tiles. I can filter this down by the agent, I can filter this down by branch locations versus users, and I can drop in statuses that are specific to my sales process. I can even change the backdrop, so I can put in different video backdrops or images, and this just makes it more personal to your organization. Once I do that, I can then select the slide duration. So how fast do I want these slides to change between the different metrics that matter most to my team? And so I could say 5 seconds, 10 seconds, you could say a minute if you wanted to. Once I've created a slideshow and I've dropped in the metrics that matter most on each slide, all I have to do then is come down to this custom URL, copy it, and paste it into my browser. And now this can be shown on a TV screen that's on the sales floor. Transitioning every 5 seconds, showing my sales team how they're performing in real time. So when they're going to lunch or they're coming in the morning, they can go, oh my gosh, I need to make more calls. Or our team is behind the other branch location. We need to step it up a little bit this month. And so you don't have to be the manager that's constantly showing them reports, printed off. They're always going to see the reports up on the big screen and how they're performing in relation to their peers or how their team is performing in relation to other branches or other teams. The other reports that I want to show you are the lead performance reports and sales team and user performance reports. And so the way that our reports break out is to really show you granular metrics on your different lead sources so that you can double down again on the ones that are performing well, cut off the ones that are not. So if I'm going to go to the marketing source summary report, this has all of my lead sources here, and I can even put in goals. So goals help me to see really quickly if I've got a lead source that isn't performing up to our standard, and I can identify it super quick, cut them off. I can see ones that are performing well really easily in here, and then I can use my filters on every report. So with filters, I can make this very specific. Again, I can put in my specific status change that works with my workflow. So if I want to see application or sold, anything that's specific to my sales process, I can drop that into any one of our reports. And so this is going to give me the visibility on my marketing sources to really see what's going on. I also want to know how my sales team is performing. So I'm going to go to the detailed performance report. And in the detailed performance report, what we do is we break this out by all the distribution strategies. Again, it's either pull, it's push, or other. And so with pull, I can see all of my team members here, and I can see which lead sources they're getting their leads from. So I can see Gabe is getting leads from Google and from landing page. I can see he's not doing so hot on Google. He's doing great from landing pages though. So I want to get him more landing page leads. I don't want to keep sending him Google leads because he's not doing that great with them. I can also drop down my filters, and if I have a specific status that I want to see here, I can do that. So just a few other quick things I want to show you. I know that we've gone through reporting, I've gone through some of the administration settings. Just really quick to note, so if your team has a group of people that maybe set appointments for senior salespeople, you have a shared calendar solution in here. I can create appointments really easily for Heath over here. I can also create multiple attendees. It's going to give them a notification. It's also going to remind them when they have upcoming appointments. So you have a full shared calendaring solution here to schedule appointments for the rest of your teammates. You also have the ability inside of settings to really create tight permissions. That's something that we get asked a lot here at ClickPoint, is what is your permission system like? So I'm going to show you real quickly. I can set up as many permission roles as I want: administrator, agent, marketing manager, and within each one of these roles, I have permission levels that I can set for them. So I can turn off pretty much any part of the system that I want simply by disabling it. So you have every major part of the system here labeled and broken out for you and organized for you. And then I can say, I want to disable this section. I don't want my agents to be able to, as an example, export leads from the system. That's pretty common. As I scroll down, I also have the ability to look at all of the lead fields that are available and viewable by a salesperson. And I have the ability to make it so that a field is read only, or that they can't edit a field. And so that's really important too, because you might have a field that comes across from your form where you don't want your salespeople to edit that. And you can certainly set that up within our permission system. One of the other things I want to show you is how easy it is to add users into the system, and that how our billing works is that we charge per user per month, but only for the active users that are in the system. So we like to point that out so that you know how our billing system works. It really gives us incentive to make sure that we're constantly working with you to get your salespeople to perform in the system. And on that last note, I want to make sure that we go over our pricing and how it works. So again, you're only paying for active users, no long-term contracts. We're going to get you stood up as quickly as possible. And if you can't get your dedicated support and customer success manager, you have access to the rest of our support team. That's a big benefit to working with ClickPoint and Sales Exec, is that our support is considered to be top notch. We put a lot of effort into it to make sure that you get the most out of the system. Our pricing is pretty straightforward. It's $65 per user. We do have volume discounts. The more users that you add to the system, our normal pricing is $65 per user. And that includes everything that you saw in Sales Exec, with the email nurture, the lead routing, getting web leads into the system, managing your sales team, all of the reporting. And for Ring Response, there's a $35 license. So combined with Sales Exec and Ring Response, it's $100 per user per month. And with Ring Response, you do have a couple of other fees. You have the per line fee, as well as the local or toll-free per minute fee. And then for text messaging, you have a per transaction fee for text messaging. We're more than willing to look at the total number of minutes that your team consumes per month, as well as the number of text messages that they send, and come up with competitive pricing. Thank you for checking out the tutorial on Sales Exec and on ClickPoint. Again, I just want to reiterate, we're going to go the extra mile for you. We hope that you give us a try. Go at your own pace, and if you feel like at any time you need help, do not hesitate to reach out to our customer success team. We're there to help you. The mission at ClickPoint Software has and always will be to help salespeople get more out of their system with Sales Exec, and to help them see measurable results within 30 to 60 days. Thanks again, and we look forward to working with you.